Hello and welcome to Eco Girl in a Modern World. My name is Shelley and my channel is dedicated to talking about ways to be more environmentally friendly in a modern context. As promised, we're going to go ahead and talk about a little bit of fashion today. On my channel, I like to talk about ways to be environmentally friendly when you're addressing topics like fashion, because fortunately fashion is a very important one. It's a way that people can feel individual and things like that. And so, but overproduction of clothes is a very big issue. And so we're going to talk about that today, and we're going to talk about spring, summer fashion trends and way to be environmentally friendly with it. A little bit of pretext, I apologize. I was about to postpone this video because in the last couple days I had caught a spring cold, so you can hear it in my voice. I'm actually feeling much better today. Last night was a little bit of getting through the night, low level fever and coughing and sneezing, and I forgot how miserable these kind of the bugs can make you. And it's nothing serious. I've tested twice. I tested, waited 2 days and tested again. It's not the bad virus. It is just a regular spring cold. But it is a helpful reminder to always, mask up, or I do have a video here on my channel that talks about first aid. I have been using a lot of this, I've been drinking a lot of tea with honey, Manuka honey. One way to help with allergies is to buy local honey. Local honey contains in it the pollen of what's going to be out there during spring and summer. So by eating honey that is local, it helps prepare your immune system. Plus, just plenty of fluids, plenty of rest, and also, you can wear all cotton masks. I have really thick cotton masks that are washable and rewearable that I feel work just as well as an N95 when you're going out. And of course, I always wear that when I'm going to public places or, going to the grocery store. I just feel like it's a way to keep all of us safe and healthy. But I hope that I don't look too rough. I'm looking a little pale because I am getting over a cold. But okay, why am I taking fashion advice from this lady? She looks very pale. But yes, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna, I'm feeling much better and gonna get over the bug. And let's go ahead and jump right in. First off, I mentioned in last video that a lot of fashion is very intrinsic to our culture. People want to feel individual, they want to feel stylish. But if you watch my channel, you know that fashion can get very wasteful. It's extremely wasteful. The amount of water that we use, the amount of toxic dyes, synthetic fibers. So to preface this, anytime I go, I don't refrain from being fashion forward. I like to be fashion forward, but the way that you do that in an environmentally friendly way is you look to buy things that you are going to wear. Fashion trends, especially the trendy things, they go in and out of style very fast. If you are more social media driven, if you watch TikTok, if you watch Instagram, if you watch Facebook even, the influence of being able to post an outfit that you wear once and then never wear again, and having that outfit be a synthetic fiber like polyester or nylon or something, and then you just throwing it away after you've worn it once, that is the wasteful cycle of trends. And what we want to do is we're not saying don't be fashionable, but the way that you are fashionable in an eco-friendly way is you look to buy secondhand first. Look to, there's a lot of things that can be very clean that you can buy, secondhand or vintage, from vintage shops, from Goodwill, from eBay, from Macari, from Poshmark, any of these secondhand retailers. ThredUp is a good one. And of course, when you're buying it in person, you can, kind of do a lot of the tests, see if it smells like mothballs, see if it's, smells funky, see if you can wash it. The other thing is a lot of times it's always encouraged that you want to be able to wash your clothes. And I've noticed that the clothes that have the most longevity are the ones that are made of natural fibers. Natural fibers are the ones that are made of cotton, preferably organic cotton.
Because regular cotton is grown using a lot of chemicals, pesticides, and water, but organic cotton would be grown without any of that. So organic cotton, hemp, silk, wool, linen, or jute, or and we'll talk about the synthetic fibers in a minute. You know, there's fibers that are what I call the, you know, the particle board fibers, which are like tencel, and, you know, the ones that are made of bamboo. And what it is those fibers tend to be made of like paper sources. So, you know, things that are made from bamboo, made from, you know, the materials that are supposed to be more eco-friendly. The chemicals that they use to bond the fibers are just as toxic as synthetic fibers. And honestly, if you're growing trees are not really a renewable resource. We want to conserve our wood for other things than our clothes, and especially we don't want to be putting those resources towards clothes that are just going in and out of style. So again, when you're looking at fashion trends, you want to go in with the goal of looking for staples, looking for pieces that you really like, that look good on you, that if they do go in and out of style, that you will hold on to it and wear it. The other thing is something called a 30 wears rule. When you go in owning a piece with the expectation that you're going to wear it 30 times or more, that is always the best bet. And if it's something that's a little bit more trend forward, you want it to be of a good quality piece that looks good on you, where if someday down the line that you did want to resell it or trade it in, that it would be resold. It would go back into the circle of things. You can sell it on eBay, you can sell it on Mercari. And when you think about it, okay, when have you ever paid money for something that you really didn't want or wear? Right? So, all right, we're going to get past all of the gloom and doom. Please feel free to check out other videos. I have videos about fast fashion here on this channel that go into all of that. But anytime I talk about this, all of the fashion trends I'm going to go through, I'm going to be, every single time I talk about it, I'm going to be talking about pieces that I already own, that requirement of this fashion trend, how many times I've worn it, because you never just want to wear it once, what material it's made of, usually 100% cotton or wool or silk or hemp, and then how it fulfills, you know, how you can use it interchangeably to fill all of these trends. So to jump right in, the other thing is I'm going to list some videos down below. I do watch several other channels. Not all of the channels are 100%, you know, eco-friendly, but all of the channels have talked about thrifting, or they strive to thrift. Also, the channels have talked about no buy. You know, Laini Ozark talks about that a lot. She thrifts a lot, and she also talks about, you know, not spending money. You know, Anna Reed is a good one too. She is very fashion forward, but she always supports you not buying anything you don't need to. And I'm also going to post a video where she had a collab with her sister-in-law, actually, to talk about what to look for when you're thrifting, and that makes it a lot more eco-friendly. And lastly, I am going to post a video by Kathleen Illustrated, who talked about predictions. I thought I really liked her video because it not only talked about trends, but she talked about how it seemed like a lot of the predictions were, it seemed to be regurgitating trends that have been on the, you know, kind of on the docket, and she kind of threw out her predictions for what spring summer would look like. And so in this video too, I have a few predictions inspired by these other these other channels, of what I think is going to pick up in trend. And I do apologize if there's a few cut breaks because I have to cough. I will let you know. Starting now. Okay. All right. We're going to jump right in. So eco spring summer fashions for 2024. First off, I predicted this in the fall as well. Pale icy blues. I think this is just a natural carryover, you know, from the early winter, from, you know, January through March. It's much on the cooler side. Sometimes you're still getting snow, and I've noticed that, you know, light blue, dark blue, those have been very, very popular. The kind of baby blues. Also, you know, in that same vein, a lot of other pastel colors. The Pantone color of the year is Peach Fuzz, which I've mentioned in other videos. You don't always have to go with what the color of the year is, because Peach Fuzz is a warm kind of peach, and
warm colors don't always look really good with me. I feel like you should always know your color chart and compare it to that. So some of the pastels, you can go with a cooler version. If you wear more silver jewelry, you can wear a warmer version. There are cooler peaches, so you could try to do a variation of it. But you know, of the pastels, you know, for spring, you know, pale icy blues are very much on the forefront, as are, you know, the peach fuzz color, the butter yellow, which I predicted last year, the real olive oil greens I predicted last year as well. Those you're going to see, like the spring kind of greens. And plus, also, I think you're going to see a lot more of the chocolate browns. So that's a nice, you know, variation to the, you know, just, you know, black and white neutral colors. I think the deep chocolate browns and also, what was the other one? Silvers. I think the silver grays, the real light kind of icy grays go really well. But pale icy blues tend to be very much on the forefront. The second trend that I see this kind of piggybacking off of is double denim. Double denim you're seeing a lot of, and it seems to be like, if you can, you know, it's your level of daredevil with double denim. I think a lot of people are going to be doing a lot of light wash compared to dark wash. It seems like you can kind of tell if you have like a base piece that's a solid color, and then you play it off of two pieces that are light wash or dark wash denim. But I think a lot of people are going to be, you know, piggybacking off those icy blue colors by doing one piece that's light wash and one piece that's dark wash. And again, you can very easily, you know, denim, this is so great because you can, that's very eco-friendly because you can wear the jeans that you already have. I only have I have 4 pairs of jeans and I wear them. They've all been worn more than 30 times. And one, you know, 2 of my pairs of jeans are darker wash. One, my light wash is a very flared leg, you know, almost bell bottom-ish. And then another one is by Better People, which is a low water jean. And again, I don't have 20 pairs of jeans. I wear the ones I have, and I can very easily wear that out. The other thing is, this is underneath, what I've got on right now is underneath a sweatshirt, but this is a denim button-up. And I feel like a button-up, especially we get into spring, can almost act like a light jacket as well as being a shirt. So I feel like that really plays into the double denim as well. The next one that this kind of goes into is I feel like in the theme of pastels in spring, and I know florals for spring, groundbreaking, right? But a lot of the floral, and there's a word for it when they kind of look like flattened flowers, and I'll put it up on the screen. But you're seeing a lot of that. And I feel like that's kind of a little bit in the Chanel kind of theme. I really feel like Chanel is going to be kind of an underlying theme. I think that is both media related and because it's spring. You see a lot of tweed, you know, pretty pastel tweed skirts, and those kind of cropped jackets with the pockets is very Chanel-esque, as is the flower. And in a previous video, I called it the wrong thing. I called it a gardenia. It's not a gardenia, but one of the house symbols of Chanel is a camellia. A camellia flower is a big floral, kind of fluffy white flower, and or it can be black as well. But the reason that they use it, it was a favorite flower of Chanel because it was based on a play that she saw when she was 16 years old about the lady who wore camille flowers. The other thing is that a camellia flower has no scent, and they're really beautiful. They have a lot of petals to them. They're very fluffy and full of flourish, but they have no scent. And the great thing about having no scent and being such a beautiful bloom is that there was no risk of it conflicting with the perfumes that Chanel sold, like, you know, Chanel No. 5, you know, Gabrielle. You know, it was just a beautiful adornment, and I just feel like for spring you're going to see that a lot in both on dresses and around collars and in your hair and on purses. Also in the vein of Chanel, and I think this is playing into media a little bit, what we consume when we watch TV shows is going to come up a lot. But there is a show called A New Look, and it does talk about the battle between kind of Gabrielle Chanel and Christian Dior. in the post-war era of the 50s. Chanel was always about liberating the woman because, you know, she came into fashion after the 1900s when a lot of women were very corseted. And she made it, you know, she was more into the modern silhouette of jersey, no corsets, the more sports kind of loosening of the bodice. And Christian Dior was a very feminine designer, but when he came in the 50s, he really brought back the strict kind of constriction of the body. And Chanel really, I think she felt like he was a competition, but he was also bringing back that real structured silhouette, which she felt like he was just, you know, trying to, you know, not being a woman. She felt like Dior didn't really know what it was like, what he was putting, you know, women through. And when you think about it in the 50s, you know, the housewife wearing the, you know, the crinoline skirts and stuff, it you know, all fashion for women sometimes can be little torture devices. But I feel like, you know, because of that show, a lot of both Dior and Chanel kind of influences are coming in. So, with that, I felt like the Chanel tweed jackets, but I also, one thing that I saw that I think is really going to take off as far as shoes go is the cap toe or the two-tone shoes, particularly in either the pump form or the slingback form, because that's something that Chanel wore a whole lot, and I feel like they look very ladylike. Especially you'll see in the if you watch any of Laini Ozark's videos, she loves kitten heels and slingbacks, and I just feel like, you know, slingbacks, especially in spring, as everyone's wearing their good, you know, holiday clothes, and we're wearing more white, and, you know, we're getting back into warmer season. I think a two-tone pump or slingback is very ladylike. It's very elegant, and it would go with a lot of these pastel tweeds and things that are coming in. In that same vein, as we get back into warmer weather, it's still very chilly at first, but then we're transitioning. Sheer overlay, I feel like, is a big thing, particularly in skirts. You've seen a lot of the hot pants, the real short shorts that almost look like underwear, you know. And it's funny, I saw, you know, I've joked on this channel a few times about that trend. Of course, I think people buck the trend. The moment I say you look like you went out with no pants on, people will purposely go out with no pants on because they're like, yep, see, I did it. I went out. Yes, more power to you. I'm not knocking the trend. I'm just saying that it's not very practical, and the not very practical trends are the ones that tend to be donated to the thrift store because they're 100% polyester 6 months after they're no longer in. So I'm not knocking it. It's just, you know, the tighty whitey, you know, you borrowed your boyfriend's underwear. And my main point to this is that you saw so many celebrities going out in the underwear and looking great, but they were going out in LA when it's, you know, 70 degrees in the evening. That same celebrity I saw go out in the tighty whitey trend while she was in Aspen, Colorado, and she looked like she was freezing her tatas off. So that's what I'm talking about. It's spring. It's not summer yet. I would say I would completely understand. So what I'm talking about is sheer overlay. It looks like it's kind of a piggyback off of the hot pants short trend that is also coming, which you'll probably see this the hot pant in summer, I'm predicting. But for right now, they're transitioning it, and I think you're going to see sheer overlay skirts. Now, the ones that I like, that I think are kind of universal, that if you did add it to your closet that you could probably get wear out of if you really liked it, would be a skirt that has, you know, a lining and then a pretty overlay over it. And again, it can play into any of these other trends with like the kind of floral print. I admittedly went to the fabric store, and I fell in love with this sheer overlay print that I thought was so pretty, and I actually got some cotton material to go under it, and I am going to try to make this. I'm going to try to sew this. Now, the overlay, admitted my own smack hand, it's polyester netting. It's very difficult for me to find netting that is 100% organic fabric. But it does exist. And one thing I can tell you is that if you were watching Margot Robbie during her press tour for the Barbie movie, that pretty vintage Barbie inspired skirt that had like the tulle around it, that was silk. So that netting that you saw, that wasn't polyester. All of that poof, all of that crinoline was silk. And of course, that's very expensive. You're not going to just find that at your regular craft store, but that's just my proof that you can just, one of the eco-friendly ways is to always pop that tag, look to see what it's made of, because believe it or not, you can do these trends out of natural fibers, and sheer netting can be either cotton or silk. You can do that. It's difficult to find, but it can be done. But I do think that you're going to see a lot of those sheer overlays, and I even saw I saw a shirt at Anthropology which was kind of this eyelet kind of opening, but it had kind of the flattened flowers. But I'll let you know how it goes. But the sheer overlay would be very pretty for spring, and it would be really lovely. And the kind of the 60s mod is kind of coming. It's percolating, I think, almost the kind of 2010s twee kind of look, but that sheer overlay is one part of it that's been very popular, particularly with skirts, and that's what you've seen on the runway. But just check your tags. You can find that, and definitely try to look secondhand first. Again, sometimes you could either make this, or you could use another garment to get the material that you need. And sheer overlay can be in silk, and that's silk. Not only breathes really well, it's easy to launder, and it's more environmentally friendly. Anything that's an organic fabric, when it does reach its end life, if it's made of a natural fiber, it's more likely to biodegrade. But me, I did fall in love with a material, and again, on my channel, I always say it isn't that you're not allowed to take up space. If you like something, that's fine, but go into it with the expectation that you're going to wear it a whole lot, and you're not just wearing it once and throwing it away. So I'm very against fast fashion for this. So this is the purpose of this channel. Now, in that same vein, it seems like all fashion kind of throws back. It's cyclical. It always comes back into style, and it tends to be 20 or 30 years that every single time something comes back into style. And I feel like, especially this year, we've been taking a lot of influence from the 90s. And a lot of people go straight to kind of the Matrix look when they think 90s, but I'm thinking more of I'm seeing more of a cyberpunk kind of influence. And this was mentioned in the Kathleen Illustrated video. She talked a lot about metallic, like molten metallics. So it's not just regular metallics, but it's that almost look kind of like they conform to your body. And this has been very media influenced as well. Like recently at the Dune Part 2 premiere, there was the star of that movie wore almost like an ex machina kind of metallic metal suit. And and if you watch Kathleen Illustrated's video, she talked about that. I do think that is the trend, but I do think that it's a little bit more, I think it is taking from a 90s influence, which has been very popular, of kind of the cyberpunk. And the cyberpunk is not just Matrix. I know Matrix was a lot of leather, and you actually saw that a lot, as well as that we're seeing a lot of leather for spring as well. And you did see that with, Timothy Chalamet wore a lot of that at the Dune premiere too, for the men's side. But I'm thinking more cyberpunk. If you've ever seen the 90s movie Hackers, I feel like that, because that movie really it almost took it from like a 90s dystopian future. It has like a touch of cyberpunk. It has a touch of sports chic, which is also kind of a percolating theme. And it also crosses over with a Matrix like kind of dystopian. So I just feel like if you're looking for any of that, like the molten metal metallics, which has been very popular, but what I'm thinking is, I'm seeing all of these themes, like, kind of themed t-shirts, bright primary colors, Metallics, and if you watch my vintage video, I talked about how metallics are really hard to do because most metallic material is 100% polyester. And when that becomes a trend, you have all of these, it being mass produced by, all of the fast fashion brands, which is really bad. I feel like if you're going to do a metallic look, always look pre-owned. Go to eBay, go to your thrift store. If it's going to be polyester, because polyester is made from gas, it is petroleum based. So we're using gas, and you think putting gas in our cars is what's causing this? The amount of carbon and the amount of gas used in production of polyester, which is, if you look at the tags of any of your clothes, that's the problem. That's the problem more than putting it in your car. And it is very toxic, and it also doesn't breathe very well. So it's very bad for your skin, especially in spring, summer when it starts to get warm. You're just going to be sweating. It's like wearing a plastic bag. But if you buy it pre-owned, that polyester is already in existence. The other thing is that if you buy it pre-owned and you don't have it shipped very far, you're anything that you buy that's already in existence, you're keeping that out of a landfill. You're giving it a second life. And if you intend on wearing it 30 times or more, or just keeping it and loving it, that's always a good thing. So, but I'm just seeing a lot of that hackers-esque cyberpunk, and I'm all for this because I'm telling you, I was a teenager in the 90s. I loved that, it almost looks like a computer screen being reflected back at you. And I know they had a lot of that imagery in the Matrix, but a lot of that imagery came well before the Matrix. Like, if you look at Kate Libby in Hackers, her whole style was just awesome. She would wear zip-up moto jackets. She would wear she always had like a cross reference going on. But she, the other thing is the other characters, the backpack that she wore, and, the crossing over of leather with, bright colors and more. You'll see it in a minute when we talk about kimonos. I just feel like, all of that can be done, buying secondhand, buying vintage, vintage t-shirts, and, looking for natural materials. You can absolutely do that. And the nice thing is silk will always give you a metallic sheen. So if you can find a jacket that is primarily silk or something like that, you can pull off that metallic. It's funny. I was binge watching, one of my favorite TV shows was X-Files. And there was one episode where the reflection off Scully's eyeglasses, that's the vibe of cyberpunk that we're kind of looking for. And then if you go for jewelry that is 100% silver, that's like, cuff, or, it looks more like, again, molded metallics, that's going to be very popular. In that same vein, on kind of the counterbalance to that, 80s has been very strong, in particularly elevated office basics. I feel like now that, we're kind of out of the woods, thank God for, since it's been 4 years since we've had to really have to work from home. As people are going back to the office, I think suiting has become a lot more popular, but it's almost a hybrid of putting a little bit of your individual style. It's not just your traditional three-piece suit, which is very 90s, again, X-Files, if you look at the Scully, the shoulder pads have been really popular, the triangle, silhouette, but we're getting a little bit looser with the pieces, like you wearing wearing a t-shirt with a blazer, or doing more of a looser fit vest with some looser barrel shaped pants. It's piggyback. It's like elevated 80s with a little bit of more individualism. So you're not going straight back into that office 9 to 5 look, but you are still showing your individuality while still being a little bit more professional. That is a theme with this, and I'm all for it. I feel like this is my style, a little bit more of a looser, less structured jacket, but then everything else very streamlined and professional. There's an outfit that Gal Gadot wore in Wonder Woman 84 that I think really epitomizes this. It's kind of, it's looser, and you can absolutely do this with natural fabrics. You can find a linen vest. You can find, I've noticed that the tan linen blazers have been very popular. The other thing is, off of that, office space, work casual, kind of 80s or more statement earrings, and this can bridge into the Molten Metallics. If you have kind of bigger, solid, materials. And again, you can find all of this on eBay. You can find all of this pre-owned quality material, because that's the other thing. When you buy something that's pre-owned, the material of it is just made so much better, right? You're giving it another life, and it's already in existence. It's already been made. You don't need to buy all of this new. And I'm not wearing them right now because I've been sleeping. But I am the queen of 80s earrings. I've found so many vintage pairs of both plastic and metal, solid silver earrings, and I love them. I will never part with them in a million years. And if you find that and you appreciate it, again, you're keeping it out of a landfill. But statement earrings and statement necklaces, especially cuffs, bracelets and cuffs have been very popular. Now, this kind of bridges into this more professionalism kind of look, bridges into polo shirts. Polo shirts are very in, and this is kind of a preppy look. I've noticed that sweater vests and polo shirts are going to be kind of in for spring. And these are very easy to find. I mean, honestly, believe it or not, and this is something Kathleen Illustrated says all the time too, go to the guys section. If you go to the guys section of either the thrift store or the vintage store, you will find some cute polo shirts in abundance. And a lot of times, just pop the tag. If you find them from Brooks Brothers or from Land's End or something, it tends to be 100% cotton. Again, if you're buying something that's already created, that's the best thing. You don't have to grow that cotton again with a bunch of pesticides. It's already there, and cotton breathes really well and is easy to launder. So, again, if you just look at the tag, see if it's organic fabric. Also, hemp is really nice. Hemp and linen breathe like a dream, and they get softer the more that you wash them. So, and they're natural fibers. So if you find a good knit polo shirt, that's going to be very popular. Now, this bridges, one other one that bridges off of this, and there is no official name for this aesthetic. Please comment or post if you know what this is called, because I've been referring to it, and I've seen this everywhere. Every store I've seen it, I've seen people wearing it. I'm referring to it, and tell me if I'm wrong, I'm referring to this as Preppy spring break destination apparel, or it might just be Preppy vacation destination apparel, because, we are going into summer, and in June, when school's out, you might be going to Cape Cod. But I'm seeing it everywhere. Basically, it is sweatshirts and ball caps. I've seen a lot of ball caps that have destinations of really, really fancy resort areas, right? Like I've seen Cape Cod, I've seen Paris, I've seen, Boca Raton, and I'll get to that in a minute. My mom speaks fluent Spanish, and she's like, what Boca Raton means in Spanish, right? You might want to look it up because it's a really ritzy place. It's a really ritzy place, right? But look that up after you get off this video. But it doesn't mean anything real good. But yeah, it talks basically. It's sweatshirts and t-shirts that like I even saw one that says "On my way to St. Bart's," or something like that. So apparel, and I think this trend is going to be a flash in the pan. I wouldn't buy a whole bunch of these because I think it's going to be it's kitschy is what it is. I think you're going to get stuck with it after this trend is over. But it basically just gives t-shirts and sweatshirts and of destinations that you have been that are really ritzy. It's like the Airbnb, look at where I've been thing. And I've noticed that's going to be very popular. So if you did actually go somewhere and and you have that sweatshirt, you're going to be in like crazy for this spring, fall, summer season, because it's a hip thing. And this is actually making me feel really good about buying that tweeds. If you watched my Valentine's Day post, I had bought a tweed V-neck sweater that says Antigua on it, and I'm going to be getting some use out of that because I've never been to Antigua, but man, that's playing into this. One last thing is ball caps have been popular, but particularly ball caps with that trend, the, the Preppy vacation destination. And I did not ask my friend to do this, but my friend is so sweet. She vacations in Florida near that fancy place. She goes, she's so funny. She had posted a post about being frustrated because she was going into Sam's Club in Boca. She's like, it's crazy in here. And I'm like, but it's Boca. When she goes down to Florida, she sends me seashells, which I absolutely love. She sent me a beautiful shell fossil that I absolutely love. But in addition, and I did not ask her to do this, I think we just have a mind meld where she knows, she didn't know I was doing this video, but she sent me a brand new ball cap from a Preppy destination, and it is in periwinkle blue, which is a very spring color. So yes, I am ready for this trend. Thank you very much. And I might live in this because I haven't been feeling well and my hair looks like crap. But so, okay, Preppy destination, if you have any of this, you are going to be ready for this spring, summer. And that is 100% cotton, and it was a gift. So, I appreciate that. It's never bad to have a good ball cap. You can use it when you're gardening and when you're out in the sun or when you were visiting the beach collecting seashells. Now, in that same vein, before we get into one last thing, and I probably should have talked about this when I was talking about the floral, eyelet lace, I feel like is going to be a popular one. This hasn't been really on the boards, but I think it's very pretty. I also think because, again, we're going to talk a minute about media influence, but I think eyelet lace, especially with just, short sleeve shirts or camisoles. Laini Ozark actually talks about this too. She has a pair of bloomers, and she's braver than I am. I can't do bloomers, but I did see a pair of Anthropologie that were cotton that were cute. But bloomers that have the little floral rosettes, some of the trends have been a little bit shorter with the skirts and things like that. So if you are wearing like a baby doll skirt or something like that, if you wear like a short shorts that have eyelet lace, I think that's kind of cute. It is kind of Bridgerton, and that's kind of a social media influence. But I think eyelet lace in either tank tops or undershirts or those little cute little bloomer shirts, I predict that as being one of the things that may not be on the mainstream radar, but is kind of percolating. One other thing is that we are kind of throwing back a little bit to the early aughts. We seem to be doing late 90s, early aughts. It's like we're going from like 94 to 2004 seems like the range of fashion that we're revisiting. And I feel like baguette bags, like the little kind of elongated kind of, I call them the armpit sweat bags because they touch really close. But I feel like those baguette bags, and again, that's something you can very easily find vintage side. Vintage side is very popular. I think you can go there and find a good, and especially if this is a kind of trend you want to get into because you've always wanted that kind of bag, I do not encourage any time to go to a fast fashion brand just to have this for a week and throw it away. That's not eco-friendly. But I have a Banana Republic brown leather bag that fits under the shoulder. I have owned that for decades, and anytime a trend like this comes out, it has pockets for everything. If I need that bag, I will pull it out, and that is my baguette bag, right? And again, you find like a good solid piece, when it comes to purses, you can find it secondhand. It'd be leather, and you can fulfill this trend and fulfill a need without buying new. Now, this was a prediction with Kathleen Illustrated that I thought was very on point. I have seen this along with the Preppy vacation destination. I have seen a lot of boxer, like boxer fighter kind of themed shorts, like shorts that are different colors but have a really wide waistband. And Kathleen mentioned that she felt like this was a trend based on the movie The Iron Claw. and that apparently talks about royals who did boxing. It sounds like an interesting premise. I need to watch it. It's been on Apple TV, and I don't have that streaming service, so I will try to rent that and watch that. But it's about the sport of boxing, and she felt like both lace-up boots, kind of like the mid-calf lace-up shoes, which are a little bit, you can kind of cross that over a little bit with skater shoes. Like I have a pair of Converse high tops kind of lace up boots, but the kind of two-tone color and the high-waisted shorts that are kind of the boxer theme, like the Rocky theme, I'm seeing that a lot. And I do think that's going to be kind of a percolating trend, not to be strange, but satin shorts, like the bright yellow silk shorts that kind of can look boxer-esque. I've also seen some wider belts be kind of in. Wider belts have been kind of a thing. So I do think boxer core is kind of going to be, the thing. Now, the only thing is I've seen you can go with those sneakers that lace all the way up to your knee. I know that it takes me a solid 5 minutes to get in and out of my Converse that just waist up, that are just high ankle. So, I think that would be more on the trendy side. But if that is really your thing, again, if this is what you love, that's been kind of a theme, and I am going to try to watch that movie. Now, the other thing is influenced also in that kind of range of, this is a little bit of a bridge of cyberpunk and just kind of, it's just a touch of being that kind of trendy, is I am seeing leopard print. And it's funny, this is taking me a little bit out of my comfort zone, because I've always, anytime I see leopard, and particularly, there's kind of two sides to leopard. The one side is the traditional just brown and black spots, which, you've kind of seen the little sub-aesthetic. I mean, I don't want to offend anyone. This is what it's actually called, but the mob wife aesthetic, where, people are wearing, dark leather trenches and, turtlenecks that are and dark glasses, and they're wearing that leopard print almost like a kind of an alpha female kind of way. But I am seeing the leopard print, and let me just paraphrase, it's not the rainbow print. This is not the Cheetah Girls thing. You could go that route if that was important to you growing up, but the Lisa Frank Cheetah Girls rainbow, no, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the traditional leopard print. And I've actually seen this. This is very easy to thrift too. I actually went to the thrift store, completely masked up. I went to the thrift store and I saw a lot of shirts, pajamas. I saw a few leopard print trimmed things. And again, I just think when it's regular leopard print, it's actually not that bad. I found a Land's End 100% Supima cotton pre-owned sweater. It's a little cardigan, and it has it's got pockets. I bought that secondhand, and I really liked it, guys. I'm telling you that this trend has kind of taken me out of my comfort zone, and I wore it and I felt empowered. I was channeling my inner Fran Drescher. I really, the nanny. I was like, dang, this kind of feels kind of good. I didn't feel mob wife. I didn't go there. I'm not covering up any family secrets. It wasn't like that, but it did make me feel kind of empowered, and I think that's just something. And honestly, that is a little bit the hackers. What is it? The character Phantom Freak. He used to always wear leopard print, and it was just very instinctive, and I thought that was kind of fun. The other thing is that I think a kind of the comic book character, when I think of cyberpunk, I used to read a lot of the comic book Generation X growing up, and I really the Marvel Generation X, and that was really that was my influence as a teenager, actually, in the 90s. Because it's funny, when you're replicating a fashion trend, it always seems to be a little bit of a it seems to be a cartoon, not parody, but caricature. It seems like when you're, you know, and it's the same thing. In the 90s, we were trying to dress like we were in the 60s. And my mom, who grew up, was a teenager in the 60s, would always look at us like, okay, that wasn't quite how it was. You got the highlights of it. Same thing when you're looking back at the 90s. It's like I lived it, so I remember that, you know, what the core influences of it were. But I think, you know, things like leopard print and individuality, and again, it's kind of like a gentle kind of punk. It's kind of like a new age kind of punk, and it is cyber related, and it, you know, and I feel like that's going to be really on the forefront, and I feel like you can really play with it to make it just like we're finding a happy medium between, you know, suits for work and more casual. I think we're going to find a happy medium with that kind of cutting edge. And one other thing with cyberpunk is I do think, cargo pants are going to be very popular. I feel like cargo pants can be styled up or styled down. I think a lot of the square shoulders is going to be in play, both from just jumpsuits, you know, I think utilitarian, I guess I'll just call it that. Utilitarian, I think and that kind of can touch on cyberpunk. It can touch on, you know, casual, cool. You can dress up and dress down. Now, the one caveat is that I've never been a big fan of like satin cargo pants or, you know, camo colored cargo pants. I feel like that's two different kind of genres, but just regular solid color ones or bright colored ones, I think will be very big for spring. And I do feel like you can make it kind of feminine. I mean, again, you can, I think also with the office space, a crossover of masculine and feminine is what you can kind of play with all of this. And but all right, guys, I think I covered everything. I know it's quite a few. We always talk about this, but everything I talked about on this list can absolutely be done. I'm doing all of this with pieces that I already have in my closet. If you want any inspiration, please look at my donations video. Always at the beginning of April, I go in and I do an inventory of my closet. I look at what needs to go, but I always ask myself, okay, you know, I'm very hard on myself to not make anything go out. If I'm bringing one piece in, one piece has to go out, and then that piece has to go out because I bought it on impulse or something like that. That sticks in my mind, because we don't want this rotating closet. You do not want to be doing massive purges from your closet, right? This should be, you know, what you wear, and really, if you're letting go of something, you want to know that it is going back into the cycle. And ideally, you want to replace it with something that's going to be long lasting, that looks good on you, and that is made of quality materials. So with all of this, you know, buy secondhand, look at the tag, see if it's of natural, breathable fabrics, make sure that you can wash it. Oh, very last thing, and I'm saving the best for last. Okay. This is going to be a longer video, but one last thing is that a lot of the other videos talked about predictions. Every single video I posted down below talked about predictions that weren't on the radar, because again, a lot of the fashion editors, I think, are just going with what all the fashion editors are waiting to see what the influencers are going to say, right? So this is really what's actually going to be dominant, I think, is going to come from the voice of the people, which is nice. But one other thing that I think will be on the radar, that so eyelet lace, I don't think a lot of people talked about. I predict that's going to be on the radar. The other thing that I think really is going to be on the radar is going to be East meets West. And again, a lot of the guesses that people had were from the media influences, what's on movies, what's in TV. And I think one of the bigger shows that I think is coming back, that had a resurgence from the 80s, was the miniseries Shogun. I feel like a lot of the Japanese culture is going to be coming back into style, and not only from that media influence, but it is springtime, the cherry blossoms are in bloom. So I predict And honestly, this goes into the cyberpunk aesthetic too. If you watch, I think that movie, the movie Hackers with Angelina Jolie, that is really her style. And especially at the end of the movie when she wore that kind of kimono dress, and throughout the whole movie, she really did have a lot of influences that were, East meets West. So I think jackets that are again, it can kind of be a crossover of those wider shoulder pads that are broader at the shoulder, narrow at the waist, that have the stripes, that have the lines, that are made of silk. Bows have been very popular in the traditional kimono. There's wraps that go around the waist. Wide belts have been popular. I just feel like a lot of this crossover, you can kind of take two elements from one style and two elements of the East meets West, particularly with Japanese influence. I also think anything that looks like porcelain, that looks like porcelain, like earrings that are white with blue, which plays into those icy blue tones. I think all of that will be one of the less known kind of, dark horse fashion trends that I do see coming into style as we go into the summer. So that's my prediction. That's my contribution to all of this themes and stuff like that. But of course, please check out my other videos, particularly anything that talks about fabrics or fast fashion. Check out my donations video if you want more information about how to look for sustainable pieces to fill your closet where you do not need to purge, because that's our goal, don't purge. And I thank you so much for joining me, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye.